Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is set to arrive on PS5 later this year, and with glowing early reviews, I'm counting down the days to jump into Indy's newest gaming adventure. But until then, PS Plus Classics has dropped a surprise for fans: Indiana Jones and the Staff of Kings. And you know what? I thoroughly enjoyed it. This game delivers exactly what you'd want from an Indiana Jones experience. It's a third-person Uncharted-style adventure game, with of course a heavier focus on fistfights and plenty of whip-swinging action. Staff of Kings captures the essence of what makes Indiana Jones such a timeless character. It nails the adventurous tone and makes you feel like you're in Indy's boots, even if it doesn't quite reach the polish of its contemporaries. For example, releasing the same year as Uncharted 2 was always going to be tough. Staff of Kings definitely looks and feels like it's a generation behind, but for what it is, it's a really fun game and was an absolute blast for me to get the Platinum Trophy in. We join Indy in 1939, 1 year after The Last Crusade, as he has journeyed to Sudan to recover relics from Nubian pyramids, before they could be scavenged by grave robbers. One thing I absolutely love about this game is that it features the fully licensed iconic music as you play. Unfortunately though, DMCA is lurking like a rolling boulder, ready to strike faster than you can say Dr. Jones. Dr. Jones! But trust me, it's an awesome feeling. In this game, there are 3 trophies for each level. One for completing each level, one for completing a miscellaneous task, and one for collecting all artifacts per level, which are these hats dotted around all over the place. Thankfully, there's not really many of them per level. Indy's iconic whip also makes an appearance early on and is essential for progressing through the game, allowing us to collect a torch to explore the caves, where there's a heap of spiders. Every day I'm shuffling. Anyway, we discover a fiery temple and can grab the prize we came here to collect, which after a narrow escape is unfortunately interrupted by Indy's favourite German friends. And of course he decides to make a run for it, letting us experience combat. Now the combat in this game is a bit clunky. It's not as refined as Uncharted's fist fighting for example, but the encounters are few and far between where it doesn't really get too stale. You know what, this game's kind of sick, I quite like it. Especially throwing spades at enemies, I like that. We grab the last collectible in this level, earning the first trophy of the game. Nubian history, first trophy. Oh, all the Sudan artifacts, cool. Before fighting some more bad German fellas and escaping on a plane. This section is pretty cool. Flying feels natural and taking enemies out is too. The trophy Ace Archaeologist can be earned here for destroying 8 planes, but thankfully with the rewind feature this is pretty straightforward. And if you miss any you can instantly try again, and that also earns the trophy for completing Sudan. Which brings us to San Francisco during Chinese New Year. I'll be honest, I didn't fully understand the story here, but in short, this girl, Susie Tan, gets kidnapped, and Indy's rescuing her. There's a lot of enemies here, and that allows us to get the trophy Think Fast, for throwing 25 combat items, which we get pretty early on. One of my favourite parts of this level is this section. There's this bar fight, and there's just some bloke in the corner playing the piano. Why is he playing the piano? I don't know how to deal with them when they're blocking me. I feel like oh, it's R1, isn't it? Yeah. Wait, surely I can throw him in a fish tank, surely. Yes, of course you can. Oh, I can throw a fish at this guy. Yo. It's like the alien face huggers. You're planning on starting this game tomorrow, looks mid but nostalgic. It's pretty sick. I'm having quite a bit of fun to be fair. There are these shooting sections in the game and for the most part they're pretty fun. Although in this section I was dying a few times in a row and I'm not proud of how long it took me to realise I needed to shoot this lantern above him to progress. Anyway, we catch back up with the female short round, the kid from the second movie. It looks like the kid from the second movie in some weird fucked up way, but it's a woman, isn't it? And it's at this point I realise Indy is here to collect the Jade Sphere, whatever that is. There's a few more enemies down the stairs, which Indy makes light work of, before he decides to strap himself down on this chair, which chucks him down into a cavern with a shipwreck in it. Who would have thought this was all below San Francisco? Within the shipwreck, I can grab the last collectible for this level, and also the Jade Sphere. But the level's not done just yet, as Indy's friends from earlier are waiting for him, and it takes some quick thinking and a tram to escape, leading to this shooting section. Another pretty fun section that ends with Indy successfully escaping, and thus ending the level. Next stop, Panama, a jungle section that leans more into the style of the Uncharted games. There is this redhead here, and although I'm colourblind, I don't know, sometimes she just looked a little green to me. Why is she green? Actually, she's like Poison Ivy, Fiona. Indy shoots up these goons who have absolutely decimated this tribe. And there's this sound of a goat constantly being blasted in your ears. What is that guy doing to that goat? Oh no, the goat's up here. I thought this guy was like fucking a goat in the corner or something. As mentioned, the combat can be rough around the edges, but it's pretty funny bad. Oh my god, he went flying. Eventually, we reach this temple, and have a fight with what a fandom page describes as the Torchman. Yeah, that's pretty fitting. This fight isn't so bad. The main thing you need to know is just don't bother attacking until he's dropped a torch and thus becomes vulnerable. Indy's face in all these cutscenes is just so wacky and funny. Inside the main temple, there's a long section with lots of puzzles, such as spider-infested rooms,
every day I'm shuffling,
collapsing structures, and a trophy for releasing the beasts. Oh, that's the trophy. In Panama released the beasts. Which it seems is just a pair of skeletons. There's also this giant room which contains what is an actual historic Mayan ball game, where you need to chuck this golden ball through this hoop without getting crushed by the giant balls, that is. And with that finished, we can venture on, grabbing the last collectible. Yeah, here it is. Mayan Secrets. And catching back up with Fiona. There's one more puzzle here, which is a simple stand on the pressure plate in the right order. And once again, this bloke is here again. He's waffling on far too much, which once again gives Indy the chance to escape. You'd think by now he would have learnt his lesson. No! Anyway, that ends Panama, the Mayan Trials. Sick. And brings us to Istanbul. The trophy Don't Let It Go to Your Head says to complete any level with big head selected. So for Istanbul, I thought I'd mix things up. Wow, that is a big head.
ah, look at the top of his head.
And there's the first collectible. I can't even see where I'm supposed to go, it's that big. This is the sort of shit you want from games. They've all got big heads. Oh, that's class. Not the Germans with their massive heads. Oh, I can take it off now. Don't let it go to your head. Complete any level with big head selected. You don't actually need to complete the level then. Bro, look at it. It turns it into like some cartoon Lego game. Istanbul's the same as before, but pretty well designed. Lots of shootouts, lots of enemies, some caverns with puzzles. These are actually some of my favourite puzzles in the game. And there's also a trophy here for defeating an enemy with a sword, which is actually done by having an enemy die from one of these statues. Oh, you run them into like the statues. I then got my last collectible of the level and made an escape, which yeah, is pretty entertaining, considering Indy's head is now about the same size as an elephant's. This is just your standard on-rails shoot and dodge kind of thing. Pretty easy but cool. The home stretch of the game brings us to the mountains of Nepal, filled with snow and near-death experiences. By warming up at every campfire here, we can earn the trophy by the mountain embers, and going deeper into the caves, we can have this tiger chase quicktime event. Indy is rescued by these guys which take him to a local village. At this point, I was still enjoying the gameplay. It's pretty fun, but there's not much to it now. Shoot some guys, beat up some guys, gather more collectibles, complete puzzles in a tomb. This time it's these statues and some fire, and ultimately run into some German fellas. The only difference here is being betrayed by Fiona. Escaping is the same but different once again as it's on this boat, a bit like the end sequence in Resident Evil 4. The boat falls off a cliff, but conveniently Indy lands on this airship, which brings us to the last level of the game. I'm not exactly sure how long this section took me, but it was far longer than I'd like to admit, with a lot of rewinding to correct any errors. I think a big reason why I enjoyed this game more than others is the rewind feature allows you to enjoy the story and the game for what it is. On the airship there's more shootouts and more fistfights before running into the big bad Voller once more. And would you believe it, he's got the Staff of Kings. He destroys his own airship and makes an escape on a bike. This time, we're the ones doing the chasing for once. There's a trophy here for gathering the last collectible of the game, and also target locked for completing this section without taking any damage. Once again, the ability to rewind negates any frustration of having to replay the whole level over again. The end of the game is pretty cool. Indy defeats the big bad, gets the staff, stops world destruction, and gets the girl, just before the staff turns into a snake. It's like the most typical yet satisfying end to an Indiana Jones story. Anyway, that's the game. Pretty short, mostly fun, highly recommended for a relaxed platinum, which can be earned by viewing all fortunes and concept art. I actually streamed this whole game on Twitch, and will be streaming regularly on there, so be sure to go give that a follow to catch these platinums live. As always, a huge thank you to all my channel members. Your support really goes a long way, and stay tuned for more Indiana Jones and more platinums coming soon.